Welcome to our last chapter. This is chapter 18, and we are going to talk about organic agriculture. All right, so this is just a pretty broad outline of what specifics we're going to talk about in this chapter. So we'll look at government certification to be an organic grower. We're going to talk about why people farm organically. We'll look at fertility. We'll look at weed control in organic agriculture, profits versus the yield, and a lot more. So here we go. All right, so before we get into this, I want to stress very, very much that this is one of those chapters that you are here to form your own opinion on the way we look at this type of agriculture, but you have to respect everyone else's opinion as well. So if your opinion is not the same as someone else in class, that's okay, but you have to respect that opinion and be very civil about it. So here are the facts. This is a fact-driven presentation, and we're going to dig into a lot more of them in class and have a little bit of a discussion and or debate, very respectful debate as well. So here we go, just some key concepts. So in 1990, there was an act that was passed by our federal government, and it was the Organic Food Production Act. So with that, gave the USDA permission to show people what organic growing really is and started promoting it. So once people started to see what organic growing actually was, they started to see that biodiversity will start to happen, biological cycles became more prevalent, and started to really emphasize the environmental stewardship, like using no pesticides, using weed control, organic weed control, things like that. So what does it regulate? It regulates synthetic fertilizers, so man-made fertilizers, anything that we make, humans make, pesticides, herbicides, anything like that, and genetically engineered products. Okay, so any GMOs, that is not considered organic agriculture. All right, so what is organic agriculture? It is just the food production system that uses different production methods, not worse, not better, compared to conventional agriculture. So that is meaning people that grow organically do not use pesticides, herbicides. They don't use any synthetic anything. Okay, so in 1990, we started to see farmers starting to grow organically. So they would start to grow what consumers wanted. So this was dubbed as the consumer-driven way of agriculture. And so people started to grow what the consumer wanted. And they started to realize that they wanted more healthy, what they would be considered healthier ways of eating, and pesticide-free. So no spray to kill weeds, no herbicide, nothing like that. All right, so because it was a consumer-driven food, we had to then figure out, the USDA had to figure out, okay, how are we going to maintain and then regulate what is considered USDA organic? So then they started to give a whole bunch of rules and regulations for that. Once they started to see that there was a lot of people that were like, hey, this organic thing, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to buy my food. So almost 500% by 2002 or 2000 was what that stat was, and it's now a $25 billion industry per year. It's huge. And so we, as agriculturalists, started to farm the way people wanted to buy their food. And so it's very consumer driven, has nothing really to do with the government or whether that's federal or state, and really originated in that those local communities, marketing it by those local consumers and farmers. So this is a big reason why farmers markets are very successful, because people see where their food is growing from, and they might be neighbors with them. So that's more of a little bit into that consumer driven food production. All right, so U.S. Organic food sales by type. So when you're looking at this, billions of dollars on the left-hand side, year on the bottom. So fruits and vegetables probably will forever be one of the biggest staples in organic agriculture, just because we can grow a lot of fruits and vegetables organically without little inputs, whether that's in a garden, whether that's in a 10-acre field. Okay, so probably by the time you and I are gone, it will probably always be fruits and vegetables. Then you have dairy, and that's kind of controversial with the dairy industry and what it is right now. Beverages, we'll talk about that. Prepared foods, breads and grains, meat and fish. You can see meat, fish, and poultry are very low on the list there. So there is a market for it, but it's not as much as those top types of food. All right, so how does the federal government certify that you are an organic grower? So have to be managed by the Organic Food Production by the Act of 1990. We talked a little bit about that. Then you have to be in this program called the National Organic Program, and it's a federal program that regulates organic agriculture in the United States, and it will certify you as an NOP. They'll certify you a person that's an NOP and with the quality control of the certification to become an organic grower in the United States. So that NOP will come to your farm and they will inspect your farm. They will see what all aspects of your farm entail. Then here are some requirements for that. So have to have 3 years, consecutive years. Can't do year one, no application of the synthetic fertilizers, but then the next year do it and round up 3 years. Has to be 3 consecutive years of no application of any of the type, whether that's synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, GMOs, whatever that is. Have to be implemented into that organic system plan. So you have to have a plan, you have to have it on paper, have to be showing that how you're growing it. Use of only natural inputs, so natural organic matter. You have to be doing that with no synthetic substances. Or if it is synthetic, it has to be approved by the federal government. Have to use organic seed, and you have to use we have regulations on the raw manure and compost. So like if you wanted to fertilize your organic farm with chicken manure from around here, that manure actually has to be tested and passed inspection before it can be put on. And then you have to maintain buffer zones, so you have to have some soil quality in there as well. And those are some of the requirements. Record keeping. I think every part of agriculture needs to do a better job of record keeping, whether you're conventional or organic. But record keeping in organic, they know how to do it because they have a plan. They know exactly what their yield was from every type of crop that they have grown for the past however many years. They have organic system plan that shows that operator how those organic products are grown. That OSP is then completed at start of that certification or certificate program or process, and then it's updated annually. So now it's on a computer. It's a computer systemized program, and you can actually go in and see your records from every single year that you've grown organically. Now, again, there's going to be some of that the government will see, USDA will see, but you will have excellent record keeping if you are growing organically with United States Department of Agriculture. All right, so organic agriculture is so widely spread throughout the United States. It is a booming business, fastest growing component of agriculture in the United States. But the funny thing is, only less than 1% of organic acreage, of total organic acreage, is in the United States. So that's crazy, but all states have some sort of organic acreage, okay? So all states have some type of organic growing systems. California, North Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, Wisconsin, those are our leading states. The average organic farm is 126 acres. When we talked way back in chapter 1 or 2, I think, we talked about how the average farm size in Oklahoma was a little over 440 acres. Okay, so if you're looking at it from that aspect, about 126 of those acres would be considered organic if we're looking at an average scale. But it doesn't necessarily have to be field crop plants. It could be very diversified or specialty crop plants, whether that's blueberries, whether that's strawberries or tomatoes. Those types of crops are very important to be grown organically for that consumer-driven process as well. All right, so here is organic cropland by type. So I talked a little bit about field crops versus fruits and vegetables. So field crops are really important in the organic world because we can then grow field crops for, like wheat. We can grow that wheat in organic wheat to make organic bread. We can grow organic corn to feed to any type of livestock and give them, and that would be considered organic. Fruits and vegetables, they still have a pretty big stance, especially in California, but other crops like those specialty crops have a stance as well in organic agriculture. All right, so this shows you the size of organic farms and the percentage of the acre, their production this is in 2007. So 886 farms of 500 acres or more, but you look at 9,251 farms have 1 to 9 acres. Okay, so those people, whether you're growing 1 to 9 acres or whether you're growing 500 acres or more, you will be growing the same. You'll have the same regulations. Some will just have more acres than others. All right, so why do people farm organically? Why do you and I make the decision to farm organically or conventionally? There are some aspects of the way we look at our food nowadays that show us that the way we grow things with synthetic pesticides, GMOs, antibiotics have an impact. People have concerns that they have an impact on the environment, on us, on humans. And so they are able to market that as, you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to worry about having a GMO in your food. So that's where organically growing farmers will look at it and then market that and have their own peace of mind as well. Reduce the off-the-farm purchase input, so you're not having to spend, thousands of dollars on fertilizer, thousands of dollars on pesticide. You have a huge commitment to the stewardship of the land because you're growing organically and because you're having to follow a lot of rules and regulations for the USDA. And the price premiums that organic growers get are pretty good. Again, sometimes they do compete pretty well with conventional agriculture, but they still have a pretty big presence premium-wise.